confirm it or not. Anyway, oh, oops, that red light's on. That means we're on the air. On the air. Air quotes. Anywho, welcome to this edition of Aztecs All In. Steve Perez and Louis Weiner here, a couple of alums who are all in on San Diego State University Aztec Athletics. And we say hello to Louis Weiner whilst I meander over to the host desk off camera. And Louis is standing there in the band position. Hello, Louis.
Hello, Steve. No chef's kiss to you this week. Just a good old Laurel and hearty handshake.
Another fine mess you've gotten us into. Incidentally, folks, Aztecs All In is a joint venture of Perez.com Productions LLC and Louis Weiner, an individual. Each are solely responsible for their opinions, which don't necessarily reflect each other's, such as they are. I know how controversial you can be, Louis. Always go off the deep end here, so my lawyers have advised inserting that language. Coming right up, no last-minute road heroics in this one. Instead, a pummeling at the pit as the nationally ranked Aztecs fall to the U of NM Lobos.
Jaedon LaDee is on the watch list for 2 National Player of the Year awards, and we'll hear what he has to say about it.
And we'll take a look back at yet another last-ditch win by the Hoops team on the road, this one against the Con Exentos of San Jose. But first, Louis, on to Saturday's game on CBS. It was another reminder that this version of the Aztecs Hoopsters have not been all that on the road. Minus a bona fide rim protector, some senior depth and brawny length, and then you add in a red and white sold-out home crowd at an altitude of 5,100 feet, and, well, you know. Add this one to the 2 convincing losses they had previously to BYU and GCU. Aztecs lose the pit to UNM 88-70. Saturday's loss leaves them at 14-3 overall and 3-1 in the Mountain West, heading into a home game against Nevada Wednesday, a road game against Boise State Saturday.
Steve, as the old sports adage goes, unless you're talking about the 1972 Miami Dolphins, you can't win them all. But fans are funny because if you're rooting for a really good team, like this 2024 San Diego State men's basketball team, who this season have had a 6-game winning streak and a 7-game winning streak, you sort of sometimes do think they can win them all. But that's not realistic, is it?
Thank you, Louis. I can hear the voices of numerous bitter old copy editors and sports writers ringing in my ears, along with the ghost of E.B. White. And you know what they're all saying? There's a shorter way of saying you can't win them all, and it goes like this. You ready? Cliché! Oh, wait. More are coming.
It was a tale of 2 different games. With 5 minutes left in the first half, the Aztecs led by 12. And all Aztec fans, come on, admit it, thought this one may not be as close as you thought it would be.
Yeah, well, then they haven't been paying attention. Listen to the Lobos respond, courtesy of the voice of the Lobos, Robert Portnoy, on KKOB Albuquerque. And the guy you hear rooting for the home team in the background is analyst Hunter Green.
5 minutes left, first half. Lobos need a little mini run here to close out the stanza. House off the screen to the right elbow, shooting a floater. He got it. Jalen House with 5. Lobos had missed their last 5 from the floor.
A little 2-minute drought.
Here comes the pitch out. There's House with a steal. House to the other end. House lays it in. He undressed Trammell at center court and brings the pit to his feet.
Coach Dutcher wants a timeout. He doesn't want this place to get out of control.
4:39 to go till break. Lobos within 8 at 35-27. And listen to more than 15,400 explode.
Nah, man, you listen. Closing out the half, it was all Lobos and more noise from the pit.
Lobos have scored 17 in a row. New Mexico leads 40-35. Trammell into the front court. 20 on the timer. They leave him, and he shoots a 17-footer and makes it. 2 pass fakes, and they left him all alone, and he knocked it down. Trammell with 9. That leads his team. Coach Patino will take his use it or lose it 30-second timeout here. That ends the 17-0 Lobo run. New Mexico up 3 with 28 seconds left in the half.
That 17-point run from the Lobos was the largest against the D1 team in the Rick Pitino era, and the hometown announcers are happy campers. Now, Lewis, I know we had agreed before that I was going to open with the stats in the recap, but you go, boy.
So the Aztecs scored 35 in the game's first 15 minutes, then just 35 for the remaining 25. Why? Well, New Mexico played extremely well. Anytime an Aztec went up for a shot, it seems like a Lobo player was in the right place to swat it away. This stat sort of tells it all. New Mexico finished the game with 14 blocks. The Aztecs had just one. Except for that early stretch in the first half when Darion Trammell hit 7 quick points, the Aztecs never were able to make a run, and they had no answers to New Mexico's tenacious defense. Remember, Aztec fans, the other team has great players too, and sometimes they just play better than the Aztecs, and that was the case today. Jalen House was pretty much unstoppable the entire game, ending with 26 points, 7 of 16 from 3, and 8 of 8 from the free throw line. Jamal Mashburn Jr. added 19, and the Aztecs had little answer to the Lobos on the boards, where they were out-rebounded by 10, with New Mexico pulling down 14 offensive rebounds. So the Aztecs moved to 3-1 in the conference with a big game this week at home against Nevada. While Aztec fans most likely think this was a horrible loss because they were monumentally outplayed, in the overall scheme of things, it's just one loss. And according to the metrics, yes, Steve, the metrics, not a terrible loss. In the KenPom rankings, the Aztecs, after the loss, dropped 5 spots from 21 to 26, but they're still the highest rated Mountain West Conference team in the rankings. So, be angry, blow off some steam because the Aztecs got humiliated on national TV. But take a deep breath and remember that New Mexico beat the Aztecs at home last season, and then the Aztecs went on to get to the national championship game. So deep breaths, Aztec fans. Right, Steve?
Yeah, a couple other thoughts before moving on. Jalen House for the Lobos, a fiery competitor. He's that kind of guy you'd love to have on your team. If he's on the other side with his drama queen flops, his on-court cheerleading, flexing his way down the court after a make, and other drama queen dramatics, well, not so much. Give it to the program, though, for the national title in the 80s. The Aztecs had a shot at it in 2023, different era. They came up short. Second half thoughts? These are two teams and programs with a lot of history, and it got chippy with the Lobos continuing to open up their can of whoop whatever. Hoping the young Aztecs on the team learn something about maintaining composure when the scoreboard, the crowd, and the refs are going against you. That, and brace yourselves as the Aztecs once again disappear from the in-season polls after a loss. Let's take a look back now at the San Jose State game, Lewis. Another one of those last-minute wins. It seems to be this year's modus operandi. This one sealed by a last-second shot block by Jay Powell at the Provident Credit Union Event Center in San Jose. At the time, that made the Aztecs 3-0 in the Mountain West with an 81-78 road win against the tenacious Spartans team stacked with Euros. Lewis, of course, that game most likely would have gone into overtime, and then who knows? Instead, Jay Powell makes the defensive play of the year to date. Jay Powell had 2 blocks in that game, none so important as the one that sealed the win. Still playing in that face guard after his nose met an elbow against St. Catherine December 19th. He has Trey Anderson getting around him and driving for a layup that could have tied the game. Instead, here's Dutch talking about how Powell recovered from a defensive miscue. Also, Lamont Butler chimes in, singing Powell's praises as well.
Yeah, Jay Powell has great length, and he's a very good shot blocker. He blocked a pull-up jump shot earlier in the game. So he messed up a coverage. He and Lamont weren't on the same page. We were trying to switch a screen. They slipped out of it, and he recovered. And that's a credit to him. He didn't quit on the play, and he caught the ball at the rim and won the game for us.
Jay Powell, he made a heck of a play at the rim to basically save the game. If he makes that layup, we probably go into overtime. It's a different game. But, Jay Powell, he's been playing well the last couple games, and he's really important for our team. And I'm excited for him and what he's going to do for the rest of the year.
The well-traveled 6'9" senior transfer has proved to be a valuable addition to the Aztecs, looking stronger on the boards and obviously picking up more on the Aztecs' defensive culture as the season progresses. Lewis, did you know that win against yet another Northern California team was significant in another way? Aztec Media Relations men's basketball ace Richard Stern, always good with the interesting nuggets there. Here's one in the wake of the win. Aztecs are now 4-0 over the Norks this season: Stanford, California, St. Mary's, and San Jose State. And since the 2010-2011 season, they are now 34-4 against Northern California schools. In addition to the four we just mentioned, the record includes San Francisco, Pacific, and Sacramento State. Lewis, over to you for more about Jaedon, LaDee, who had one of his best games of the year against San Jose State. 31 points, 10 rebounds.
And he camped out at the free throw line so often, you'd think he was on vacation. He drew 15 fouls, shot 19 free throws. This was LaDee's second game of the season with at least 30 points and at least 10 rebounds. He also did it against Washington on November 19th in that Aztecs overtime win. LaDee is also one of just two players in the country to accomplish this twice this season, along with Kansas player Hunter Dickinson. Since the start of the 1996-97 season, this is the 8th time an Aztec has scored at least 30 with at least 10 rebounds, and only one other person has accomplished it twice, and that's Jamal Franklin. He did it back in 2012 against Colorado State and TCU. LaDee led the Aztecs in scoring for the 11th time this season and has scored in double figures in all 15 games this season. LaDee helped the Aztecs dominate in the paint, where they had a 38-24 advantage in points, and they outscored the Spartans 18-9 on second chance points. Coach Brian Dutcher most definitely took advantage of LaDee's strength and imposing stature, constantly matching him up in situations where he had single coverage. That was a far cry from the UNLV game, where LaDee often had 2 and sometimes 3 guys guarding him under the basket. LaDee was asked about it after the game, and also about the challenge of playing Mountain West Conference games on the road.
They kind of got a lot of points in that first half. We kind of came out just wanted to kind of shut them down on defense, really. But, I mean, Coach Dutch is a great coach. I mean, he saw something I probably didn't see, and he was, taking advantage of the single coverage. I mean, we're San Diego State, so, we're going to get everybody's best shot. And then, credit to San Jose State, man. They've gotten so much better. I mean, last year they were really good and they had the player of the year, and then this year their offense is so good. That's kind of kept us, on our toes today. I mean, like Coach does say, I mean, it's hard to win on the road, any college basketball game. So, I mean, in conference, in this conference, to win on the road and, to steal those games is huge. And we can do that and protect home court. I mean, you can really separate yourself.
It isn't just San Diego State fans recognizing the incredible season that LaDee is having, but he's now drawing national recognition. LaDee was just named to the watch list of the 2 major awards that honor the nation's best men's college basketball player, the Lute Olson and John R. Wooden Awards. The senior out of Houston is the nation's 5th leading scorer at 22 points a game and ranks in the top 20 nationally in 6 additional categories, including number 9 in free throw attempts with 128, number 12 in points, free throws, and double-doubles. In addition, he's also number 17 in field goals and number 19 in offensive rebounds per game. You may recall that after the national championship game last spring, LaDee, along with Lamont Butler, both declared for the NBA draft while keeping open the possibility of returning. That gave both players the opportunity to work out with NBA teams to gauge their interest. It allowed LaDee to get a better sense of what he needs to work on to move on to the next level. And this season, it's apparent he worked on his three-point shot. Last season, LaDee took 8 shots from 3 and made 0. This season, he's shooting 40% from 3. What an amazing turnaround, hitting 10 of 25 shots so far. And overall, he's shooting 57% from the field. So what does LaDee think about this honor?
I mean, it's a great honor. It's a blessing for sure. But, I mean, that's just a testament to the work we put in here, and I'm going to just stay focused. And, at the end of the day, it's only about middle of the season, so we got a lot of work to do.
So, Steve, after the season, it will be fun to follow LaDee's progress to see if he gets drafted by an NBA team. I think it most definitely helps that a number of former Aztecs, including Malachi Flynn, Jalen McDaniels, and most recently Nathan Mensah, have showed that they can play well and succeed at the next level. And of course, there's Kawhi Leonard, who just signed a new 3-year extension worth $150 million. So safe to say SDSU has a pretty good reputation right now in the minds of NBA player development folks.
Thank you, Lewis. The Jamal Franklin of podcasting, ladies and gents. You pass it over to him, you'll never see it again. And now, Lewis, we're going to chew briefly on this football coaching staff stuff for new coach Sean Lewis and get into the true meaning of the word apparently.
That's right, Steve. I said apparently because at the time, Matt Zenitz of 247sports.com was the only one to announce or tweet out that Bill O'Boyle was being hired by Northwestern as the offensive line coach. Of course, he was hired early in December by the Aztecs as offensive line coach and running game coordinator. But later in the day, San Diego's did confirm, and Kirk Kenney of the UT did report, that Bill O'Boyle indeed was hired by Northwestern, and he will leave San Diego State before coaching a single game.
Thank you, Lewis. In addition to being the Jamal Franklin of podcasting, also the Bob Woodward of sports podcasting, ladies and gentlemen, confirming it not only once via the Twitter, but twice in the pages of the Union Tribune. On with the football coaching staff stuff. Sympathies with the guys at SDSU trying to keep all the plates spinning with basketball season in full swing and this football staff stuff. Friday afternoon, the news announcement of O'Boyle's hiring by Sean Lewis was still listed on the GoAztecs.com website. Meanwhile, UT's Kirk Kenney has the latest on his potential replacement, Mike Schmidt, expected to return as run game coordinator, which after the flubbed hiring is a good recovery, similar to Jay Powell's play coming back from the defensive mix-up on the basketball court. Schmidt is an Aztec through and through and a local high school kid. He coached during the Aztecs' best years on the ground, with the exploits of Donnell Pumphrey and Rashad Penny coming center stage. Schmidt's last stop, Mississippi State, but he became a free agent after they gave their head coach, Zach Arnett, his walking papers. Good news, as the Aztecs have also just started their early football season tickets push. Now, Lewis had 2 staff members in the national championship game for the number 2 Washington Huskies, which from here was a net positive because of the valuable experience being involved in a big game. Both new defensive coordinator Eric Schmidt and C.J. McGorsk had responsibilities for the Seattle program. Schmidt was special teams coordinator and coach of the edge position on defense. C.J., a Michigan alum, was quality control on defense for the Huskies, and he is set to be the Aztec safeties coach. The Wolverines ran roughshod over the Huskies' defense in the first half en route to a convincing win to earn the national title. Now, they were scheduled to report in to SDSU, and we've been told they remain in the fold. But as we've learned, a lot can happen, especially when you're high profile all of a sudden, and a lot of vacancies are being created around the nation that may be more attractive to coaches in demand, including the hiring of their Washington head coach at Alabama. Now, this just might be the end of all this football coaching staff chat from here until the Aztecs officially open spring training in February. Except for this. Good to see Ryan Lindley still on the roster, now listed as Senior Offensive Analyst. Lewis, you got something from the women's side of Aztec Athletics for us now, right?
Hey, Steve, I want to tell our listeners about the San Diego State women's softball team that's getting some national recognition. The Lady Aztecs are ranked 25th in Softball America's preseason top 25 poll that was just released. They're right behind number 21 Alabama, number 22 Washington, number 23 Louisiana, and number 24 Florida. 3-time defending champ Oklahoma tops the poll. This upcoming season, SDSU is scheduled to play 3 teams that made last season's Women's College World Series, and they'll play 7 teams currently ranked in the top 25, including Oklahoma. San Diego State finished the 2023 campaign with a 39-17 record, advancing to the program's first Super Regional after capturing the NCAA Los Angeles Regional and being ranked number 18 in the final ESPN USA softball poll and 19th in the final USA Today NFCA coaches poll. The Aztecs won the Mountain West tournament for the first time since 2006 with a perfect 3-0 record after finishing second in regular season play. San Diego State begins the 2024 season with the SDSU season kickoff from Thursday, February 8th to Sunday, February 11th at SDSU Softball Stadium against highly ranked Stanford. The Aztecs will also face Minnesota, Kentucky, and UC Santa Barbara in the season opening tournament.
Lewis, want to mention the women's basketball team really quick. They turned in a win on national TV against Fresno State 2 Saturdays ago. This most recent Saturday, they went to Boise, lost that one despite a double-double from Kim Villalobos. They are now 11-7 overall, 2-3 in the conference as of this reading. And also women's water polo making a preseason splash, ranked number 23 in the Collegiate Water Polo Association's 2024 preseason poll. They play in the Golden Coast Conference and are one of 4 teams ranked going into the season in the GCC. The highest rated one in the GCC is Fresno State at number 9. They also will face 11 ranked opponents this season, including number 1 Stanford, March 9. Finally, a moment for legendary Aztecs football coach Claude Gilbert. The UT's Kirk Kenney, there's that name again, breaking the news to San Diegans and the entire interwebs. Claude Gilbert died January 6th at the age of 91. He spent his retirement at a ranch in Grass Valley, battled cancer in the later years. He was second only to Don Coryell in winning percentage, career record 61-26-2. And then he was fired in 1980. It's a great story in Aztec sports lore Kirk told me about as we were hanging around during the last football season. It proved to be a textbook case in how not to handle the firing of a beloved head coach. The local sports media used to have a weekly get-together at the stadium and invite sports movers and shakers to make some headlines. For some reason, the university sent then athletics director Jean Bourdette to the gathering to announce that Claude had been cashiered. Current Aztec football players had gotten wind of the appearance and they were hanging around the back of the room. They had a petition for Bourdette that was signed by all the players. And players also told sports writers who would listen that the Aztecs were getting rid of the heart and soul of their team. And then to hear Kirk tell it, after Bourdette was done trying to work the room in an effort to put the university's best face on it, Don Coryell got up for his usual talk on the mic. By then, head coach of the Chargers, and he'd usually talk about whatever game the Chargers had coming up. He and Gilbert were former coaching mates, and Gilbert had succeeded him at SDSU. This time, he spent his time on the microphone laying into San Diego State for firing Claude after one bad season. Never met Don Coryell in person, but heard him on the radio, watched him on TV many times when he ran Air Coryell. An emotional guy, I can hear him say it. UT subscribers look the whole thing up. I can't do a Coryell, but one of the choice quotes from that account goes like this. They've got their heads so far into the ground they cannot see. Coryell demanded the school and the community take stock of itself and decide what the hell they want, and then he left. Bourdette finally got a chance to speak, but you might say his comments were overshadowed that day. A lot of program followers at the time believe his firing set the program back. For his part, Gilbert said he was going to drive out in the mountains and talk to a cow and watch a butterfly and listen to birds sing. Then he was going to go find another coaching job. And that he did, many more, doing a good enough job during a stint at San Jose State to be inducted into that university's Ring of Fire. In 2018, Claude Gilbert was inducted into the San Diego Hall of Champions. Claude Gilbert returned to the Aztecs as defensive coordinator in the mid-90s for Ted Tollner. He retired in 1999. UT photog Jim Baird has a great snap of him being carried off the field on the shoulders of 2 Aztecs. For fans of Aztec sports history, it's worth looking up that write-up, because there's that and more on the remarkable life of Claude Gilbert, survived by his wife, a son, and a daughter. And also, a passel of Aztecs. Say goodbye, Lou.
And that will do it for this edition of Aztecs All In. Thanks so much for listening. Please subscribe or follow wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can also drop us a line at aztecsallin@gmail.com. And you can also follow us on the X for late-breaking Aztec news at Aztecs_all_in. So for Steve Perez, I'm Louis Weiner. Until next time, take care.